game, everyone. This is Rich Ramon, and you're listening to Still Toking With. Yeah.
Greetings, my friend. This is the brain of TV's Pinky in the Brain. Yes, and my human avatar, Maurice LaMarche.
Hi, it's Chris Poland, and you're listening to Still Toking With.
Hey, this is Eric Roland, voice of Kendo Rappa on My Hero Academia, and host of the Tough Love Podcast. You're listening to Still Toking With on the Dorkening Podcast Network.
My crew is ready to obtain the absolution, removing any doubt that we were ever fooling.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another kick-ass episode of Still Toking With. You already know who I am, so I don't need an introduction, I don't think. And if I do, oh well, that's life. We don't have a shitload of time with this amazing guest tonight, but I do want to say we have been blessed over 6 seasons to have some serious legends in the house, and this gentleman fits that category. So without any further ado, the man, the flashy one himself, Mr. Jeffrey Mark.
And I'm not going to waste any
That's
time.
not who I was talking about, though.
No. Our guest has 10 Grammy nominations. I only have one. And that's all I'm going to say because we're limited on time. So the third part of our wonderful isosceles triangle is my dear friend who I love, Jeff Holman.
Hey, happy Wednesday. We're 2 hours early, too. That means
Right.
that means I get to go to sleep early and get some good sleep tonight. I won't be up late eating dinner. But anyway, yeah, we're limited on time. So let's just bring in Mr. David Ellefson.
What's up, guys?
There he
Welcome
is.
to the show.
What's happening? How are you?
Good.
We're doing
Good.
well. We're doing well.
And before anybody jumps in,
are you going to do it?
all
Are
at
you gonna-
once? All at once. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate
Well,
that.
now I have to do it, boys.
Well, you better do it fast.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear David. Happy birthday to you. Yay!
Thank you.
Swallow a frog. Or
Now
is
I
it
know why you got a
good stuff?
Grammy nomination. Appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us and chat a little bit. It was really tough to get you. I had to really smooth over Howie. But
I'm on the move, So
you are.
yeah.
And I mean,
Busy guy.
a lot of people watching and maybe listening to this later are going to recognize you from, Megadeth, of course. But if they want to know about the Megadeth stuff, they can go watch the 7 million interviews you've already done. I want to talk more about the new stuff.
Okay.
Ellefson Band, Kings of Thrash, a freaking coffee company.
Yeah.
A production company, a record label. I mean, of course, like Mr. Mark said, 10 Grammy. Yeah, come on, talk. Grammy nominations with some wins. And holy shit, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's been a good life.
And 2 books.
And 2 books. Actually, technically 3 books. I mean, my first book was one that I wrote as a music business book called Making Music Your Business. And that was published in 1997. And then my memoir was My Life with Death, came out through Simon & Schuster 2013, I think. And then I did More Life with Death. That came out, I think that came out in 2019 is when that actually came out. That was kind of an update to the memoir. And look, you live life, you write a book, because the book is just a reflection of all of that, So there will be more. So just living some life. I always said there will be my life after death, So that one's still to be. That's the one I'm writing right now.
Right. So
And
speaking
you're
of
still
life,
a relatively young man. You got more books ahead of you yet. There's got more life ahead of you.
I do. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm 61 years young today, and I don't feel a day over 60, so I'm doing pretty good. You
Right.
know, no, look, to me, rock and roll has kept me young. Playing music has kept me young. I've had a good, clean lifestyle since I was 25 years old. I've been on, the clean side of life, which is good.
Mhm.
So, like try to take care of myself. We know this is the only body we have, right? And I've been able to travel the world and see, excuse me, see a lot, make a lot of friends, and I get to go back and visit those friends over and over, friends and fans, and in just about the time you think you win everywhere, the phone rings for you to go somewhere else, and so I realized, the journey isn't over until it's over. So, for me, it's just about, go out and be of service, try to contribute where you can, and suit up and show up, and maybe bring a bass along too.
Give all those youngsters and old people like myself some whiplash.
Well, Kings of Thrash, you talk about the new stuff, right? So Kings of Thrash, which is, was designed to go out. Initially, I wanted to play first couple of Megadeth records because a lot of those songs just haven't been played. I don't know that they ever will get played again. So, I've kind of felt this dutiful obligation, to go play them. And I talked to Chris Poland, who was on the Killing Is
Yep.
My Business and Peace Sells albums with me. So he joins us once in a while. Jeff Young is my, my right hand man there with that. So he and I go everywhere together. We got a great singer with Chaz Leon, a fantastic drummer with Fred Aching. So this thing is going all around the world. I mean, next week we go to Mexico. December we're down in Argentina, and then we're over to Japan in February, and into Canada, and some more stuff in Mexico, and then up over to Norway and in August. So it's turning into a real proper world tour. And we were just actually literally a year ago, we were over in the
Europe.
UK and Europe.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the truth of it is the fans want to hear these songs. They like hearing them played by the OGs. And, these songs were written while we were a smaller band coming up the ranks. They sound good in these clubs. The reason we stopped playing a lot of these songs is as Megadeth got bigger and we got up into the arenas and stadiums and stuff. A lot of this really fast thrash metal shit just didn't sound that good in the big halls. So we started writing music that, ironically, as the band got more popular, we kind of started writing music that was more. It sounded better in these bigger halls. It played well to a more mainstream audience. But these songs. It's funny as I meet. Young fans, teenagers and stuff, and young 20 somethings that are like really, diehard Megadeth fans, like the new generation. And
Right.
every 10 years, that new generation shows up again and again and again. Those fans, they don't want to go hear the hits. They want to hear the shit we're playing in Kings of Thrash. They want to hear the deep cuts off Killing Is My Business and
Yep.
side 2 of Peace Cells, not side A where the hits are,
Right. Right.
So far so good. So what? They want to hear Mary Jane and Set the World Afire, and the stuff that wasn't so much the hits. And of course everybody loves Rust in Peace. That's kind of the mantelpiece of greatness inside of Megadeth for sure. And then everything after that, that was the more mainstream years of the band. So we stick to the 80s, touch into a little bit of the 90s, and that we've got a nice little niche for that stuff.
It's perfection. It's perfection. I mean,
Yeah.
I personally saw you play with Megadeth 12 times.
Wow, thank you, appreciate that.
So I mean, that's my music that grow up. The Metallica, Megadeth, Judas
That's
Priest,
when
Iron
tickets were
Maiden.
affordable.
Well,
Yeah, they were $4. I remember back then. we just posted a ticket stub from San Francisco. It was like Megadeth, Exodus. It's from the Stone. It was a club show, from like 1984. Literally, I think it was $4. And then they got
That's amazing.
yeah. I mean, look, my mom took me to see Kiss in 1977. I remember they were $5 in advance, $6 a day a show. It's like, oh shit,
Right.
we better hurry up and buy the advance tickets,
Right.
So,
Right.
but
Right.
yeah, things are, look, the whole world's more expensive, right? So the whole world is run and owned by corporations. So that's the thing I've realized, because corporations run everything. Everything gets more expensive around the world. It's not like, suddenly everything's cheaper in Indonesia or suddenly everything's super cheap in Australia. No, it's all expensive everywhere, and
Gotcha.
that's the world we live in now, and I guess I'm lucky in one sense because, I got to go everywhere. Heavy metal lives everywhere. It's not a sort of location specific kind of music. So it's like a motorcycle gang. It's everywhere,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like the audiences are, we're the same. We're the black t-shirt crowd, right? So we're the same whether you go to Mexico or you go to Dubai or you go to England. It's like, we find each other. We're a tribe that exists everywhere around the planet.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Now, is there a place that you have not yet been able to play that you would really like to?
Never played in Africa. That's one continent I've never been to. There has never been. I know there were some groups that went there. Over the years, it's not been a huge metal market. Johannesburg
Right.
and Cape Town and stuff. I think someday there will be. I hope there will be, because I certainly would like to go there just because I've never been there. So. I've been into Russia, I've been into some parts of China. China is a vast country. There are cities bigger than Los Angeles and New York in the interior that, to China, they're like the Phoenix and Austin, Texas, of China.
Right.
They're not even the big cities, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
And so there's a lot over there, Um, and India, I've done a couple of pretty good swings through there. Um, I don't know if Qatar and some of these places, if they have concerts there. I've been to Beirut, to Lebanon. Some of these places you have to go when things are peaceful, of course.
I was just going to
Right.
say Tel Aviv would be huge for you.
Been there a few times, actually. Yeah, Tel Aviv is. We had one cancel right as it was literally the next stop in the tour, and a war broke out, and we had to divert, and we had to head up to Amsterdam for a week and hang out because our next show was up in the Netherlands. But so far, and if I remember, there's another one too. We in 2001, we did an around the world. Started in England with AC/DC, went through Europe, went across over Russia. I think we did Japan and Korea, and we were going to go to Taiwan, but this massive typhoon broke out, and so we ended up going, but it went from an outdoor city festival into a meat locker. Like literally, it ended up in an abattoir. It ended up in an abattoir. I don't know. Maybe they could lock the doors and lock us all in, but I mean, the storm was a brewing, believe me. And we got in and we got out before the thing really hit. And I remember flying out of there. It was rough, man. It was freaking bumpy, and it was in one of these airlines where the front part is where you put the people, and in the back are the goats and the chickens and everything else. So. And then as we flew from there down to Jakarta in Indonesia, they were doing a coup and overthrowing the president that day. So I remember we did a press conference at the airport real quick. You get off the plane, you're all kind of stinky and smelly and everything after these are 12-hour flights, over there. And doing that, and then getting on another flight real quick, and then heading up to Medellin, which was kind of up in the north of Indonesia. And I tell you, that getting out there and getting in the car and driving to the airport, man, I mean, that was a page out of National Geographic. You are like, this is some real third world stuff. This is
Wow.
poverty like we don't know here in the West, and
Right.
I remember I finally got to the hotel after all of that, hurricanes overthrowing the government and everything else. Finally get to the hotel, lay down, and I look up and there's a lizard on my ceiling. I'm like, of course there would be, right? And I tried to go to sleep, and then I'd wake up and I'd look up and the lizard moved. I'm like, that fucker's coming, man. I can't sleep here, you know? So I don't know if I moved rooms or what I did, but, you know, it's, I never, we got to the show the next day, Al Petrelli was in our band at the time, and he's now out with the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And we pull up in the bus, and it was a stadium, and we were the headliners, and this whole stadium is surrounded by armed guards and military guys. And you know, he's from New York. He was not having it. He was flipping out. And I said, Al, I said, they'll shoot one of their own before they shoot us. They love us, you know. So we get out of the bus and they're like, please, take photo, you know. So, and see these pictures of Al, he's like just frozen solid. I said, relax, dude. These guys, they love us, man. Holy Wars. Come on, lighten up, you know. So, you know, we seem to always win over the favor of the military, which was good. You know, but you know, those kind of places, it's hard to sound check because they have their, you know, they're Muslim countries, so they do their prayers 4 times a day. And I remember there was we played certain places that was one of them where it was like you couldn't sound check because it's prayer time, you know. And then okay, prayer's over. Okay, quick, let's hurry up and sound check. And then by the time they open the doors, first band plays. Now it's prayer time, so we've got to pause the show for prayer time. Okay, prayer's over. Okay, Megadeth's up next, you know, play Holy Wars, right? So, you know, you get to really experience all the different colors of life, you know, and we kissed the ground many times when we came back home to America. I still do. But I got to say, as we see very clearly, we don't do everything right either. That's for sure, you know. So,
That is
you
true.
know, you can learn a lot as you travel. I always say, let the music do the talking. Suit up, show up, shut up, play your songs, get paid, get the hell out of there, you know. And
So getting
don't,
paid, I have a question.
yeah.
Money aside, now,
Mhm.
I've performed in front of 150,000 people. I performed in front of 30 people. Do you prefer the arena experience? Or are you happier musically with a smaller audience?
You know, you will know as much as I do that the size of the audience, while it's, what are they, titillating? Would that be the word? You know, exciting, thrilling, just larger than life. Is that cool? Of course it is. But you know, playing to that many people is also kind of like playing to an oil painting, right?
Right.
There's so many people, and it's so far away that you realize the notes you play matter just as much to those 30 people as it does to 30,000. You know, it really does. Size does not matter in those cases, right? They really don't. You know, it's really about the connection. You know, if you're just one of many bands on a bill in a large audience, a lot of people aren't there for your band, you know, they're there for the event, right? But when, let's say, 30 or 300 people show up to your show to see you, they are all there for you. They hang on every word you say, they know every word, they know every note. You can see the whites of each other's eyes because you know, because you're that close. I find those audiences can be often more intimidating because you know, if suddenly they all tune out and they start looking at their phones, you can see them. You're like, hey, you know, like, and it's not their fault. It's like, are you entertaining them or not? You know, so I find the smaller audiences, you know, they give you a run for the money, I think, because you know, you walk into a big show, whether it's your show or it's a festival, the battle's already won, right? It's already there, right? But when you walk into a smaller show, you gotta go to work, man. It's time to, because you're an entertainer, you know, and you're there to entertain people, and they paid money to see you just the same as the 100,000 people did.
Right.
And it's on you. It's your name on the door, and you got to really, you know, again, suit up, show up, you know, and you got to deliver.
Where do you think your most dedicated fan base is?
I think they're everywhere. I think every place we play is the dedicated. If people show up to you, that's a dedicated fan base. That's how I look at it, right? Whether that's 10 people, whether that's 10 people, or you know, for Megadeth, probably for me as well. You know, solo stuff. I go to Latin America, the audience, metal music is just as a movement, more kind of unbridled, I would say, meaning it's a bit more of a free form down there. And they maybe more people show up because of the love of it. It has this more kind of soccer stadium feel to it, right? And they sing along. The audiences respond differently, But that doesn't mean that it's not connecting to their hearts and souls in the same way. A lot of it is cultural. Northern Europe, they're much more. It's more of this. It's because that's just culturally how. I'll say we, because I am Northern European, right? I'm English, Scandinavian, German, right? So that's just how we behave up there. You know what I mean? But down in, Argentina or Brazil, it's woo, shirts in the air, everybody's rocking, lighting shit on fire and having their version of a good time looks a little different, And I think the main thing is the music connects with them the same, regardless of how they express it.
Good answer. Good answer.
Great answer. David, I want some of your coffee. How does one get your coffee?
You go to EllisonEmporium.com, and that's where the coffee is. So I would get you a cup here, but it's going to be hard for you to drink it. But I do have some here if you like some.
For our viewers and our listeners, if you're interested in Ellefson's coffee or any information about him, just check the show notes up above or down below, because I did put all those connection links in there.
Brilliant.
So
thank you.
If you want his coffee or his merchandise, I mean, he has stage used basses that he sells, all kinds of great shit. Because trust me, I was already in there looking around. Just check the show notes, go in there, purchase something.
Perfect.
Or better yet, get off your ass, buy a ticket to the show.
Well, it's always funny, online is the funniest thing. I remember when MySpace was out, and I had a band called F5 at the time. It was kind of one of my first kind of post Megadeth things I did. And I remember we played a show here in town in Scottsdale, and people were excited. Oh, MySpace says 300 people have responded. Well, I'm here to tell you, 300 people, that doesn't mean 300 people are going to show up, right? Because, you can sit on the internet, as we all do, like things, and then go turn on Netflix and, move on, right? Or stay home and make some popcorn and not even move off your ass and get off your couch, So, to me, the internet has its purpose. It's a good way to spread information and whatnot. But like you said, to actually get up, go out, buy a ticket, go to the show, go to an event, that's look, it's still as vibrant as ever. Like we started talking, ticket prices are insanely expensive right now. I've been lucky. I don't have to buy too many tickets. I grew up in the industry, so, I'm kind of connected in that way, but I have bought tickets and I just go, my God, are my tickets this expensive? This is insane that people, right? Because I can't, in my own mind, sometimes I can't justify it. You know what I mean? It's like, and I think my stuff is not that bad, which is good. But you know what I'm saying? It's like how do people afford this? So I don't know.
I always found that when it comes to music in metal or just music in general, if you really want to see that band, you'll find a way. So,
well, I think that's it, right?
David, before we run out of time, because I know you had a time constraint, how does someone like you, so well known, so in the music business, you said since you're 25 that you have been a good boy, you've been clean, lived in. How do you avoid, because I'm 36 years clean and sober, it wasn't easy. How did you do it quickly?
Well, some of these things are a bit anonymous, as you know.
Yes. I meant in the big picture.
Yeah, but we know that there are programs, there are recovery tools, because addiction is an illness, but it can be treated. It can't be cured, but it can be treated.
Right.
So For me, it was put upon me at a young age in my 20s that if you want to recover and stay recovered, um, you better you either fall in love with sobriety or you go back to your old ways,
Absolutely.
because if I'm not having fun being clean, I'm going to go back to an old way, but the funny thing is the old way didn't work anymore either. It did for a
Nope.
while, of course, but or at least it seemed like it did, but it's eventually we all hit our bottom, and bottom, I like the description of bottom is you hit bottom when the next thing you're about to lose is more important than the dope and the booze, and that's I think the juncture, right? And at that point you go, okay, I'm willing to try something different and I'm willing to try doing it somebody else's way. And, ultimately it's humility, right? And so, I think that's probably the trick is, you know, the humility required to overcome an addiction in an industry that's not known for its humility, and an industry that's about self promotion. Look at me, we got to get the numbers up, and especially if you're the performer, you are the center of the attention. Um, you know, it's I guess it's amazing any of us actually turn that corner, and then you kind of come back. At least I did. I remember there's a distinctive moment. I'll never forget it. I was sitting on my couch in my apartment in Studio City. I was just newly clean. So this would have probably been 1990. And I had my bass in my hand and I was coming off of opiates and stuff. So, you get body hurts and your fingers hurt, touching strings. And I remember I was just going, God, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And right behind it came an intuition, a feeling, which to me is, the God, right? The good orderly direction. It's the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, coming into you, coming into me. That said, yeah, but you know what, David, you started playing and doing all this long before you ever tasted drugs and alcohol. Like you were playing at age 10, 11. Alcohol didn't touch your lips till 15, so the dope and the booze just got in the way. It's like that's not the end game. Like this, you did this because this was the joy of just playing and being in bands and doing all this. And I'll never forget that because it was sort of like I had this sort of a bit of a self-defeatist moment followed immediately by an inspiration that said, no, nose up, man. Come on. We're not going there like that. And I have to think that again, God, good orderly direction. That was the power of the spirit. And it's interesting about that is there's a lot of ways to cure or to not cure, but to try to treat this stuff. And I lucky that I got clean during an era where a lot of other people were getting clean. The Aerosmith guys were clean.
Yeah.
Motley Crue guys were getting clean. And some of those guys have remained friends, to this day, because if you stay on the beam, and you kind of, keep walking the path, trudging the road of happy destiny, as we say, you meet a lot of us along the way, So I'm glad that we've remained friends through that.
David, you are a miracle, and I am enormously proud of you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep.
Wow.
We did have one question come in. I just want to touch real quick, if you don't mind.
Sure. Sorry, I'm just getting over the rhinovirus, so
that's okay.
Part of my throat here.
Dawn asked, "What was the family name of Foreclosure of a Dream written about?" And the reason she asked is because her family is from Ellendale area near Heartland.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you have an answer for that.
The family name, there wasn't really I mean, I certainly based it on, when I was 18, I moved to LA. That was 1983. Reagan was in office. That was when the Russian grain embargo happened under his regime. A lot of people say Reagan was the greatest president ever. Well, and maybe he was. I know my dad always paid attention to him. what do I fucking care about politics at that age? I'm 18, right?
Right.
To this day, most of the time I don't, right? But all I know is I'm calling home. And I'm living in Hollywood, and we're getting Megadeth going. And my parents are telling me about how times are getting tough. And our farm has been in our family since the late 1800s. It's been through thick and thin, better for better for worse. We've been one of the successful family farms around the area. Along with a handful of others. But a lot of our friends were getting hit hard. And there's some small farms did not make it. Then Farm Aid started. I started seeing that on TV. So I happened to be reading when it's interesting because we were on tour with Judas Priest. We were playing the St. Paul Civic Center. It's funny, my parents came to that gig. This would have been in the fall of 1990. It was on the Rust in Peace Painkiller tour. And Dave picked up his guitar and started writing that riff, right? It just fell out. So it's interesting. It started there. Fast forward a year, we're on the Clash of the Titans tour, which was kind of the end of the Rust in Peace campaign. And we're writing songs for what would become Countdown to Extinction. And I'm reading a book by Robert Heinlein, a science fiction writer, and it was called Farmer in the Sky. And Dave and I saw the title Foreclosure of a Dream on TV when we were back in Minnesota in 1986. We were passing through. We went from Hollywood. We stopped off at my family's house. First time Dave met my family, saw the farm where I grew up. And we were going to New York to go to employ a new manager for Megadeth. And we were also being courted by Michael Alago, who had signed Metallica to Elektra. And he was, courting us to sign to Elektra as well. We ended up signing to Capitol Records. But as we're watching TV one night, we see this story about the farming crisis, and it was called Foreclosure of a Dream. So we kept the title. There's a few titles: Symphony of Destruction, My Last Words, or no, The Next Victim, which is in My Last Words, Foreclosure of a Dream. You see these phrases, these buzzwords, and you just kind of keep them, and you hang on to them. And then one day, so here we are. Now we're in 1991. Excuse me. And Dave says, "Why don't you write the song? Why don't you write these lyrics about the farm?" So that was really kind of the whole culmination of where it all came from. Excuse me. It wasn't really written about anything one in particular. It was kind of written about the whole event that happened.
Okay. Well, there you go, Don.
There you go.
And thank you, Don, for your nice comment about our sobriety. Thank you.
Yeah. Right. So with that, folks, we're a few minutes over time. We do have to let Mr. Ellefson go do his thing. So real quick, Mr. Holman, any last quick questions for this amazing guest?
What got you into doing a film?
Which film?
Dwellers, for one.
So my friend Drew Fortier, who's also my partner in the band The Lucid, is a super sweet, funny, creative, cool little dude who's an amazing actor. And Dwellers, he came up with the concept, and he wanted to write me into the script and my company and everything. So that was how that came along. And I thought he did an amazing job with it. There's another film that he just showed me that's coming up. I don't know when it's going to come out. I think fairly soon, or at least start making the rounds to the film festivals and maybe the horror conventions. So I'll wait to talk any more about that until he's ready to promote it. But we have another one in the works. So there's another one coming down the pike right now.
Okay. All right. Because I didn't know you were into filming. So I happened to come across that. So I actually watched that earlier today. Dwellers earlier today.
Yeah. Look, it's found footage, right? So therefore, super cheap. But again, it's kind of like playing to 30 people or playing to 100,000 people, right? There, first of all, is there a story? Does it connect? And does it stay with you? You know, to me, that's everything. When I hear a new song, I'm always like, yeah, that's pretty cool. But if 10 minutes later, when I'm making a tuna sandwich in the kitchen, if I'm not humming that song, right, it sort of just went kind of in and out, right? It's
Yep.
like it's you know, did it connect? You know, did it have impact? You know, and so movies are the same way, right?
Absolutely.
And you know as well as I do, it's great when you can have CGI and you can have all this wonderful production. That's great, obviously, but it's more about did it touch you? You know, I watched a film the other day at the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. They have a film that they're working on, and I saw a little clip of it. I've cried through the whole thing, you know. And the director who was actually involved with the Landfill Harmonic, which is a film that I participated in. Some children who were born in a landfill down in Asuncion, Paraguay. They flew me down there to be part of the film. These kids were Megadeth fans, and I actually ended up helping bring those kids who they became an orchestra. Someone taught them how to play their instruments. A guy started making instruments out of the garbage, and another guy taught them how to play these instruments, musically educated them, and I got them to come up and actually play with Megadeth in Denver, Colorado. And then they went on to play with Metallica. They did all kinds of stuff, right? So my involvement really helped turn the corner of sort of the outcome of the film. So, you know, to me, it's the story. It's about the story, you know, and does the story connect? It's like I always tell people, where's the song? Okay, a lot of notes, a lot of fancy acrobatic, funny, you know, great shit. Where's the song? Does it connect? You know. So to me, that's always that to me is the long and the short of all of it is did it connect with people?
Very cool.
Very good.
Mr. Jeffrey Mark, any last questions?
Okay. I don't know why this is hitting me. Crosby, Stills, or Nash?
I like Nash. He
What
was
happened to Young?
Well, he came along later, I think, right?
Yes.
Right? He was the new guy.
He was the new guy.
If you come last, you're not important. Go ahead.
No, I like Nash, you know, and I can honestly say I don't have those on my phone here in my iPhone catalog, but when I hear his voice, when I hear his songs, I always go, who is that? And I go, fuck, it's Graham Nash. You know, so for me as a solo artist, out of the one that would sort of stand out from them, I always trended toward his stuff. I thought he was kind of the silent killer with the song. You know what I mean? He kind of he had something very special that resonated with me. Just like the Beatles, man. My favorite Beatles, Ringo. You know, get by with a little help from my friends. You know, I love a lot of his solo stuff. His songs. He's probably my favorite solo Beatle. Gotten to meet him. Sweet, lovely guy.
Yes.
And of course, you know, he got piped into our house when my kids were really young because he was the voice of Thomas the Tank Engine. You know, so
Right.
which was also super cool. So yeah, I don't know, maybe, and I don't know why that is. You know, maybe it's the same. Even the Eagles. You know, I like Joe Walsh. You know, I thought he was the cool guy. You know.
Yep.
Dave, I'm with David Crosby only because when I first got clean and sober, he helped me. So that
he was around a cook. So I'm 35 and you're 37. So we're, you know, a couple years apart. So you're right around that time when he was getting clean. We know who they were. There's the Hollywood, the contingent, right? A lot of those guys were getting clean and
you and I know a lot of the same people.
Yeah, it was kind of the same era, you know, and I was pissed. I mean, first I'm like, fuck you, you're raining on my punk rock parade, you motherfuckers getting sober right now. I was pissed about it, you know what I mean? Because I was 23 and I'm just getting rolling, you know what I mean? Megadeth's doing pretty well, but you know, I realized, you know, Doc McGee was our manager for a short while, and he just said, he goes, look, you know, we're here to make our bands very famous and very rich. we're here to make money. We're here to, this is the goal here. This is what we do at this office.
Right.
We make our artists very successful. We make them a lot of money. And if you can do that, great. If you need help, we'll help you get help. But if you don't want the help, there's the door. And we 1, 2, 3'd ourselves right out the door. You know what I mean? So that was the wake up call. Like, yeah, this dope shit ain't working. This has got to go. Otherwise, you're out. Because the industry was changing. The industry was not putting money behind drugged out rock stars like it was in the 60s and the 70s.
Oh, right.
That was the era. There was just a new era coming about. Which by 87, 88, 89, the tides were turning, and people were tired of losing money on drugged out, soon to be dead rock stars, so and
Right.
movie stars, and Crosby was
and
definitely
jazz
one of those
stars
heroes.
too. Yes,
And jazz stars, no, for sure, for everybody, everybody in the entertainment business. And look, and as we saw, things got more corporate, things got more business-like, and if you're the guy with the money, you're looking around going, which horse am I putting my money on? Probably not the guy that's on heroin, So
Right.
not the horse with the crack pipe in its mouth,
Exactly.
or the
So-
crack with the horse. Anyway,
Right.
Yeah.
We are over time. We do have to let this gentleman go. So, David, where do you like interacting with your fans on social medias?
Look, we've got our Facebook, Instagram. I'm not much of a TikToker. And it's a team of people that run all this stuff, But yeah, mostly for the most part, Facebook / David Ellefson. I think David Ellefson Bass is the Instagram, and and hopefully that just leads you to the real me. You know what I mean? To
Right.
to where the coffee and the concerts and where all the real human interactions happening.
Excellent. So, Mr. Jeffrey Mark.
quickly, Jeffrey Mark, guys, it's spelled there. For those of you who are only listening, GEOFFREY Mark on Facebook, Jeffrey Mark Showbiz on Instagram. And I am not going to plug our other shows because I don't want to keep our guest longer. What an honor to have him on. Jeff?
Yes, stilltoken.com. That's it. That's all you need to know. Talking with the Dead on Facebook. I'm Jeff. No last name. Good luck finding me.
He's like Prince and Madonna. He didn't even need a last name. Just
Right,
Jeff,
right.
Yeah.
So we want to thank David for taking time out of his super, super busy schedule to hopefully fill you folks in on some of the questions you might have had. And if not, well, like I said earlier, there's 7 million interviews with this amazing gentleman out there. You'll find what you want to know. Or buy a ticket, go to a show. Maybe you can ask him in person. Who knows? You never know until you try. To all our veterans and first responders, we want to thank you for doing what you do so people like us can do what we do. Stay safe. We'll see you next week. We're out of here. Be safe on the road, David.
See you. Thank you, guys.